Hi, I'm Casey and I have a crush on food. And today I have a crush on strawberry bread. Strawberry bread is kind of a Christmas tradition in my house, but really you can make it any time of year. My mom used to make it for friends and relatives. Anytime she would go somewhere over the Christmas holidays, she would take a loaf of strawberry bread, and people love it. So I started making it when I was younger, and people begged me for the recipe, and it's really tasty. So I'm going to show you how to make it today. This recipe makes two standard size bread loaves. So I have the oven preheated to 350 degrees. And I'm going to mix the dry ingredients first. So the dry ingredients are 3 cups of flour, all-purpose flour, 2 cups of sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So I sift them, but if you don't have a sifter, you can just put them in a bowl and use a whisk to mix them around. Sifting just kind of makes the flour kind of fluffy, and it also helps distribute everything. So I already sifted about half of it, so I'm just going to finish sifting. Kind of old-fashioned sifter, but it's fun. So I'm going to set the dry ingredients aside, and the wet ingredients, super easy. In a smaller bowl, you're going to mix 2 containers of frozen strawberries with liquid, and they come in a 10-ounce box, so 2 10-ounce boxes of frozen strawberries. I have 4 eggs beaten here, and so just go ahead and put those in a smaller bowl. There are my eggs, and then we're going to add 1 cup of canola oil. Any kind of vegetable oil. I usually use canola oil. So if you like nuts, you can add 1.5 cups of chopped walnuts to this, and it tastes really great. My family is kind of picky about nuts in their baked goods, so I like the nuts in there. But anyway, just give it a little stir. And now, I'm just going to add the wet ingredients to our dry ingredients. Super easy. And you don't want to over mix it. Just use a spatula and gently just keep going around and around. And once it's just mixed, then you're done. So I'm going to finish mixing this up, and then we'll pour it in the loaf pans. So my batter is all mixed, and I had my pans ready to go with cooking spray, or you can use a little bit of butter and flour in the pan, just so the bread doesn't stick. And around the holidays, I usually use the mini loaf pans because they're a good size for gift. And this recipe makes about 5 or 6 mini loaf pans. So my first loaf pan is here, and I usually just fill up the pans halfway when I'm making the big loaves. Even the smaller loaves, just fill the pan up halfway because the bread does rise a good amount. And that's kind of a good gauge too, as to if you're making the 2 big loaves, to stop filling when you get to halfway. So I'm going to finish with this second loaf pan, and I'm going to stick them in the oven. They take about an hour. So when you get to an hour, I usually check them, stick a toothpick in the middle. So if it comes out clean, they're ready. If it's still a little bit wet, then I usually do 5-minute increments. So 5 minutes longer, check it again. If it still needs a little bit more time, 5 more minutes. These are about ready. I'm going to stick them in the oven, and then I'll be back and show you what they look like when they're done. My strawberry bread is done, and an hour was just right. So they look great. You can let them cool in the pan for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then you can turn them out onto a cooling rack to finish cooling. And this is a family recipe. It's delicious. It's a little bit different. I never see strawberry bread. Usually it's pumpkin bread or banana bread or zucchini bread, but not strawberry bread. So I hope you give it a try and you can bask in all the compliments that you will receive.